Formats come and formats go, but horror is still horror. The adoption of the internet by the mainstream presented so many new avenues of storytelling and lowered the barrier to entry, might I add. This is how creepypasta came to be, by anyone being able to post anything for people around the world to see. Yeah, we know how the internet works, get on with it. In the year 2000, a man named Ted Hegeman created a site to document his experiences in a mysterious cave. The blog starts out normal, but slowly things in the cave start to get more disturbing. It begins with a small passage that he and his friend decide to open up by drilling around the opening. Weird sounds like rock rubbing against rock, and some kind of animal scream, and a wind coming from inside the cave pique the curiosity of the two. One time they bring the friend's dog, and the dog starts freaking out at something seemingly down there in the cave. Ted himself finally manages to squeeze inside the tight hole shown by this really creepy picture. Not creepy as in the guy is creepy as in I'd hate to be there. Mind you, this is taken some length underground inside the cave, so he and his friend had to climb down and then he has to get inside there. On the other side of the hole, he finds some kind of old cave painting or hieroglyphic, as well as a big round rock. He and his friend get another guy to go down in the cave, and when he comes back out of the hole, he's pale white and seemingly sick because of something in the cave. Ted ventures into the hole and the worst happens. There's some attention given to their sources of light when they're down there in the cave earlier on. You know, setups and payoffs. All of Ted's lights go out and he's trapped in there, in the dark. In his mad scramble to get out, he injures himself and starts getting horrible sensations all over his body. He finds that round rock is now gone with some kind of passage revealed to be under it. While escaping, he and his friend feel something. Something inside the cave is pulling at their harnesses from the rope. Thankfully, Ted is alive to tell the tale, but, you know, barely. He recovers over the course of a few months. During that time, he's incredibly anxious and starts seeing things out of the corner of his vision. Somehow, he and the other sick guy who saw the inside of the hole meet up and are both drawn back to the cave. Ted decides to go in there with a gun and figure out what's in there once and for all. He promises to return with answers, but he never posted again. This is, to our knowledge, the first creepypasta. It was a horror story posted online that follows a regular guy and his believable supernatural experiences. And that ending, or lack thereof, it's perfect. He goes down into the cave and is never to return. There's nothing that's truly explained, but enough to be scary and dangerous. The main character is in serious danger. It's written like this is a real guy, and that's because most of what happens in the story is based on his real experiences caving. Everything except, you know, whatever's in there is real. Even the dog. A lot of time in the story is dedicated to not so noteworthy descriptions of their materials and techniques, showing us, the reader, that this guy clearly knows a lot about caving. It makes us, even subconsciously, buy whatever he says about what's in there. It's a perfect example of how to use the internet to tell spooky stories, and it came out at the turn of the millennium. It takes advantage of the available formats, at the time, text and pictures. A thing a lot of people might not consider is how the change in font and color for passages he writes later on. It's subtle, but another use of the tools he had. Online video, interactive sites, etc. brought even more unique stories with them, but the creepypasta stories we know today started with this. It started with a guy, a cave, and whatever was down there.